Stand up! Vanguard!
What's up, Cardfighters? Ryan here from Vanguard Central, bringing you guys an updated Genesis Witch deck profile. It's a really fun deck, so let's go ahead and get right into it, guys. For our grade 3s, we are running 4 copies of Witch of Eagles Fennel. Fennel is pretty much our main boss in this deck, aside from Mint, who is our other boss card, because Fennel adds a lot of cards to your hand, which is really good, especially on her Legion turn. And also the fact that her on-place counterblast 1 Soul Charge 3 comes in handy a lot, especially if you do decide to go second, or if your opponent goes first, and you get the first stride, because it's basically like a Fenrir action. You can get a nice Doom Race play going, because you'll have 5 in the soul, if you haven't Soul Charged in between then. And next we got 4 copies of White Snake Witch Mint. Mint is our other boss card, a great late game card, I think, just because it powers up the rearguard circles, and you can also get like multi-attacks off if you do get the right cards in the soul and have the counterblast for them. And then she also has a second nifty skill that in the main phase you can counterblast 1 and soul charge 3 as long as you have another witch in the middle. Moving on to our grade 2s, we are running 4 copies of Fennel's Mate, Witch of Golden Eagles Jasmine. Jasmine I feel like is an amazing card just because she provides a lot of soul charging and a lot of pressure, because she does become a 12k hitter once you do activate her skill. And pretty much the big deal with it is when you stride over Clove and you get a 9k booster behind it, and it gets a nice 31k lane if you are able to pull off the stride skill, which is kind of like what I'm going for. I'm going for like big powered rear guards type thing. And so going along with the big powered rear guards, next we got 4 copies of Mint's Mate, Black Snake Witch Chicory. Chicory is just a generic 12k hitter, so as long as you have a Witch Vanguard, which is pretty much the entire deck. And next we got 3 copies of Witch of White Rabbits Cardamon. Cardamon I think is like the cutest card because it has the best art with like little bunny rabbits on it. And Cardamon has a great skill where if she's soul blasted like the old card Witch of Raven Chamomile, except for her, if you have a Witch Vanguard, she gets plus 2k when you call her from the soul, which I think is really good because she comes in an 11k hitter. So essentially our entire grade 2 lineup, if you can pull their effects off, they all swing for 11 plus, and they can hit the Vanguard by themselves, which is good because on turns like Mint on her Legion skill, when you do Soul Blast 6 to get the plus 5k, or for the new Stride from Fighters Collection Clove, they are going to hit for a nice 10k shield against normal 11k Vanguard, which I think is great. Moving on to our grade 1s, we are running 4 copies of Witch of Strawberries Framboise. We are running the generic perfect card not only because we want to protect ourselves against Laurel and the Cross, and also because unflipping is honestly not that worth it, but the main reason being is that it's a witch, and that means you can grab it with Fennel skill as long as you can pay the cost for that, of course. And I think that's a huge advantage that you have under most decks, because you can basically check top 5 and add a perfect card to your hand, possibly 2 if you do see 2 perfect cards in there in the top 5 search. So I think that's a great option to have. And following that, we got 4 copies of Witch of Quillpen's Onion. She's a new card from the new set Fighters Collection 2015, and unfortunately she got printed as Oneon, which is kind of like weird. I don't know why they did that. Maybe because we already have an Onion in the Neonectar clan. But other than that, she's the same as Cardamon, being when it does get called from Soul to Rearguard Circle, is so as long as you have a Witch Vanguard, she gets plus 2k, and she's a huge play in this deck because, or a huge card, important role. What am I saying? It's late. Because she does become a 9k booster, so behind any 12k swinger like Jasmine, for example, or if you are, have a Chicory on the board, it does make a nice 21k column, and if you're on Clove or if you're on Mint, it's either 26 or 31. So those provide super big numbers on the rearguard circle, and the fact that we're playing a crit heavy deck adds a lot of pressure to it. And next we got 3 copies of Witch of Melon's Thyme. Not running her just for her melons, but also because she has an amazing deck filtering skill. The reason why I like running 3 is because I do like the selective soul charging. You can put the cards that you need in the soul, and also the amazing fact that the rest of the cards do go into the drop zone. So if you check like a Cardamon and 2 triggers, you can throw the Cardamon into the soul to save that for later, and then go ahead and mill the other triggers so you can send it back with Legion. And so that's what I really like about this deck. that you don't have to necessarily make stride plays, but you can also just play Legion and, you know, keep thinning your deck, keep soul charging, and then soul blast your crits and your triggers and send those back to the deck with Legion again. So it recycles all your triggers, which I think is very, very good. And next we got 3 copies of Mythic Beast Hati. Hati is the only non-witch in this deck aside from our G-Zone. I think Hati is an amazing card just because it gets plus 1000 for every card that's soul blasted, so as long as it's GB1. And I think it's good even on top of Clove, because if it's on the board, it still gets the plus 6k from the Soul Blast 6. And, you know, and as long as you stride first, with Fennel, it becomes a 10k booster, and same thing, it becomes a 13k booster with Mint when you put it behind the rear guard. So it does make really good numbers even if you don't make a stride play, which I think is good. Moving on to our triggers, we are running 10 crit, 4 of them being Kukuri Hime to selectively, or not selectively soul charge, but to fix the numbers in rear guard columns, and also to fix soul charge numbers. Just because, like, say you have 5 in the soul, or maybe you have, you know, 2 in the soul, throw it in the soul, power up a rear guard column, and then you have enough to pay the cost for somebody's ability. And the next 4 crits are going to be Witch's Familiar Shiroma. Also another cute card that Genesis got. I think that Shiroma's a really great card just because it's the same thing as Thyme. So instead, you actually, when it's on Rearguard Circle, you shuffle it back into the deck, you draw a card, so you're kind of like recycling it, but the only difference is that you have a chance to get them back again, which I guess isn't that bad because it is 10k shield value, but it's same exact skill, check top 3, add something to the soul, and then put the rest in drop zone. So it gets a nice milling effect going off, and also selective soul charging. And we are running 2 draw. I like the draws because, you know, defensively, like I've said in the Jewel Knight video, if you hit the damage trigger on the draw, you have an extra card and you got plus 5k shield. And also, Law Angel's skill is just super good because when you guard with him, you are able to soul charge 1. So it does fix the soul charging just in case you're short 1 or short 2, and then you have like another Familiar or Thyme. So you get like nice soul charging plays even without Jasmine. And then next we got 4 heals, which of Big Pot's Lawyer. And for our starter, we are running Fetter of Leather Lading. Another good starter that you could run is, where is she? I have it right here. Is Cinnamon, because she is a witch. The only reason why I like playing Lading is because you have the chance to recycle your rides. Because when you ride something, and say for example you ride Jasmine, or you know, something that you don't really want to be in the soul, you can go ahead and call it back out with Lading, because Lading, you know, gets that free card after you soul blast. So I think that's really good, helps you recycle some rear guards without having to counterblast for it, like Cardamon or Onion. But the only reason why I have a iffy feeling about Lading is because if you ride Mint, you won't be able to use the second ability, because Lading is not a witch. So you'd have to be in Legion in order to pull it off. But that's if you put him behind the Vanguard Circle, you know. So if you think you're going to ride Mint, just go ahead and throw Lading off like to the side. And I think after that, it shouldn't really be a big deal. And moving on to our G-Zone, we are running 2 copies of the new card, Witch Queen of Holy Water Clove. Clove is super redonkulous just because of her ability to also be a first stride and gain a crit. Because if you guys don't know her skill, to Soul Blast 6, as long as you have a Witch heart in its card name, when it attacks a Vanguard, you can Soul Blast 6. It gains a continuous skill where all your units with Witch in its card name get plus 5k. So because, you know, herself, she is a Witch, she will get also plus 5k. So she'll spring for 31 by itself. And then all your rear guards, all your units get plus 5k. So like I said, your 12s become 17 and your 9k boosters become 14. So you get a nice 31k column as long as you call it out with Onion. And even if you have Hati on the board, it's still going to get plus 6k. So I feel like it's still a good card even though it's not a witch. And after Clove, we are running 4 copies of Mythical Destroyer Beast Vanagandar. Vanagandar is still a great card. He's an excellent finisher for Genesis. If you know your opponent doesn't have a perfect card, then you can go ahead and pull off his skill, stack all the crits on top, and destroy them in the face. And then lastly, we got 2 copies of Great Angel Doombrace. Doombrace is there. He's an excellent first stride. Like I said, if you get, you know, just a slow playing ride your grade 1, ride your grade 2, and then you go ahead and ride into Fennel, you do our on play skill, soul charge 3, and then you drop another whatever 3 to stride, then you get the nice 5 in the soul, doing similar to a Fenrir play where you just stride over Fenrir, you have 5 in the soul, you can do Doom Brace and have a perfect amount of soul just to re-soul charge. So I think that's a great first stride, and that's why I run 2, because sometimes your rigor columns just gotta get even bigger. Well, that's pretty much it for the deck profile, guys. Please let me know what you guys think down below. Like our videos, comment below if you guys have any questions like I just said, and subscribe if you guys want to see some more. Vanguard Central, out.